Donald Trump was aware of everything that was going on.
If you listen closely, you can hear it. That's James Comer's asshole puckering. The Republican Party's pathetic attempt to attack Joe Biden has collapsed spectacularly. And now, after being exposed as traitors who would peddle Russian intelligence in order to complete their coup, they're squirming like little maggots.
On the record, under oath, conversation we had. And during that deposition, I asked you a question of which you gave a false answer to, and I want to go back to that. I asked you specifically who got you into the presidential debate.
Real quick note, Tony Bobulinski testified that Ukrainian officials gave Hunter and Joe Biden $10 million. But that was a lie. Then it was revealed that Bobo here is good pals with Tiny Fingers. How good of friends and for how long? Back in 2020, Bobo attended the debates with Trump as a personal guest of Grandpa Fruit Loops.
The presidential debate that was attended by you and others, and that, of course, was a huge moment in that campaign, and you could not recall. In fact, you said, quote, "I do not recall who got me into the debate." Do you remember telling me that, sir?
You were playing semantics, trying to ask me as if somebody called me directly and gave me a ticket like
Sir,
I was going to a movie theater.
I asked you, I
told you
I'm going to reclaim my time, sir. I'm going to reclaim my time. What I said was...
Just ask me a question, Mr.
I'm reclaiming my time. Thank you, sir. Actually, what I asked you was, do you recall who actually got you into the presidential debate? You actually said, quote, "I do not recall who got me into the debate." You did not remember who got you into the debate between President Biden and between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
That's not a true statement.
Sir, you quoted, "I don't recall who got me into the debate." It's on page 102 of the transcript.
You did not ask me whether I was a guest of Mr. Biden.
Thank you. I'll reclaim my time. I'm not asking you a question right now. Thank you very much, sir. In fact, here, as was shown by Ranking Member Raskin, we know that you were in the debate actually sitting adjacent and next to Trump officials. When we were confronted again on this same question, Mr. Bobulinski, if you were a guest of Mr. Trump's at the debate, you responded and you quoted, once the Wall Street Journal called you out, quote, "Is the Wall Street Journal God or something? Like you act like this is some encyclopedia of fact." And you refuse to still confirm that you were a guest of Donald Trump. So I want to ask you one more time, sir. Were you a guest of Donald Trump at the presidential debate?
Whoa, time out. Just so we're on the same page. This is the guy, a convicted liar and a good friend of Donald Trump, that the GOP based their entire impeachment inquiry on?
Mr. Garcia, those were not the questions you asked me in my transcribed interview.
Wow.
You were trying to ask
answer the question, sir. Were you a guest of Donald Trump?
Of Donald Trump at the gate or at the debate.
You were.
That was obvious to everyone in the world at that point.
Oh, it's interesting.
You were asking me semantic.
Thank you, sir. So you were a guest? That you answered the question. Because at the time you said in the transcript under oath, "I don't recall who got me into the debates."
Oh, it's so sweet watching this rotund sack of lies try to backpedal his bullshit. The entire Republican impeachment inquiry is based on Smirnoff's testimony. And he's already said it was a lie, fed to him by Putin and this chunky butt whistle.
Now, you made numerous claims and allegations. You've made them today. You've made them before. And yet, even though you're not a political person, this is also another photo of you. You actually chose to show up at a press conference for Donald Trump prior to the debate because you're not a political person. Did you show up to a press conference for Donald Trump before the debate?
I can't qualify whether it was for Donald Trump.
Do you know who invited you? Sir, who invited you to the debate? Donald Trump, you said. Who invited you to the press conference?
Who invited me to my lawyers coordinated things, and I showed up at a.
Well, sir, I will tell you, it was Jason Miller, who it's been very clear, it's been reported, who actually worked on the part of the Donald Trump campaign. Here you are at a Donald Trump press conference, and you can't remember how you got to the press conference. You refuse to answer how you actually got into the Donald Trump debate with Joe Biden. Do you remember speaking at the press conference?
I do, very clearly.
You do. Do you know who Jason Miller is, sir?
I do know of him, yes.
Do you know that he was a Trump campaign staffer?
Mr. Garcia, you keep asking me semantical questions. You underestimate that I had 3 lawyers around me that were coordinating my travel, where I was going, and stuff
like that. Well, sir, interesting.
So please stop.
Well, I'll reclaim my time. Thank you very much. It's interesting, sir, because you show up to a pre-debate press conference. You show up to a presidential debate, both invited to by a person running for the presidency of the United States. You know the stakes are high, yet you have no idea how you got to the press conference. You don't remember how you got to the debate. And here you are speaking at a press conference of which the national media, so how did you get to this press conference?
I flew on a plane.
Who invited you?
Are we going in circles?
Sir, who invited you to the press conference?
My lawyers told me I was invited to come to Tennessee. At that point, I was trying to get the truth and the facts out to the American people. At that moment in time, if I recall, I believe 80 million people watched that debate. And that was probably the number one.
Thank you, sir. I reclaim my time. Well, with that, I think it's very clear for someone that can't remember how he got to a Donald Trump press conference or a Donald Trump debate, you're completely an uncredible witness, sir. Thank you, and I yield back.
At the risk of sounding like Christopher Walken, ow, he got you. Garcia slam-dunked Bobulinski, and every question made him appear to be even a larger sack of shit than previously advertised.
This is going to end up in court when we subpoena the Biden, so we're putting together a case.
In case you're a Republican, let me spell it out for you. You f***ed up, and now you're going to pay the price. Here, Congressman Garcia goes full throttle on the entire Russian Little League team.
And I just want to, just for the record, be very clear that in Mr. Bobulinski's testimony, he has provided zero evidence of any sort of link between Hunter Biden and the president as far as it relates to the business dealings. And so once again, we're back to a hearing where no evidence is being provided of any sort of wrongdoing by the president. But I want to go back,
that's a
Mr.
blatant
Bobulinski.
lie.
Actually, it's my time, sir. Mr. Bobulinski, I want to...
At the end of that, Tony Bobo says that's a lie, which is perfect in so many ways. The Republican House has stated that Biden took money in return for favors, but there was no money and there were no favors. Republican claims were made by criminals who lied. Smirnoff admitted it, and Tony Bobo was caught while doing it. But that's not the end. Republicans, and you have to give them credit for hubris, nonetheless want to end this embarrassing charade this way.
With the impeachment bus running on empty, our GO colleagues now are apparently preparing to save face by ending the impeachment farce with criminal referrals. But criminal referrals require evidence of crimes.
The Republican Party is squirming, as well they should. And I find it ironic that I look once again to Fox and Friends' Steve Doocy, who saw this and confronted Comer even before we knew about the GOP star witness, Alexander Smirnoff, and his ties to Putin and Russian intelligence.
I know the Republicans said that the smoking gun were these financial records that you were able to subpoena and got your hands on. They show that some of the president's relatives were paid more than $10 million from foreign sources between 2015 and 2017. And your party, the Republican investigators, say that that's proof of influence peddling by Hunter and James. But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts to that point. You've got some circumstantial evidence. And the other thing is, of all those names, the one person who didn't profit is there's no evidence that Joe Biden did anything illegally.
Still, there are hundreds of Fox News stories calling Joe Biden a criminal. And now we know they're all based on a convicted liar and another informant doing Putin's work. But it's crickets from Republicans who should be looking at the connection between Giuliani, Trump, Meadows, and now Comer and Jordan. Lev Parnas, who has nothing to gain from again telling the truth, stands before these goons and spells it out.
Today, I ask you to consider the following. In nearly a year traveling the world and interviewing officials in different countries, I found precisely zero evidence of the Biden's corruption in Ukraine. No credible source has ever provided proof of criminal activity, not the FBI, CIA, nor the NSA. No respectable Ukrainian official has ever said that the Biden did anything illegal, including former President Poroshenko and former Prosecutor General Yuri Lutsenko. Even when CEO Burisma, Mykola Zlochevsky, was offered a deal by Rudy Giuliani in exchange for information on the Bidens, he provided none, because there is none. The only information ever pushed on the Bidens in Ukraine has come from one source, and one source only: Russia and Russian agents.
Parnas also said this about who was involved in the conspiracy to create this false narrative about Joe Biden.
But then there was also other people that were doing the bidding for the Russian people in Congress, like Senator Ron Johnson.
Parnas knows because he was there. Members of Congress were all part of this attempt, a non-violent coup based on Russian disinformation. Comer started today's hearings by saying anyone can say whatever they want about Joe Biden.
The chair also notes that points of order pertaining to the engaging of personalities against the president will not be in order for the duration of today's hearing. Given that this is a hearing regarding this committee's impeachment inquiry, members must be allowed to speak frankly.
And then told Democrats that their arguments against Comer and Jordan's circle jerk is an extension of the Russian hoax.
After years of Democrats using this committee as a mouthpiece for every conspiracy theory they could find, like the Russian collusion hoax, under my leadership, the committee has returned to real investigation.
Look, I don't expect Republicans to speak the truth while they play footsie with a mass murderer who threatens a U.S. weekly with nuclear weapons, so I shouldn't be shocked when they lie about it. But I relish the beatdown we give them in these open hearings. And for the record, the only hoax is the appearance of Republicans as U.S. citizens, pretending to care about the Constitution while instead protecting this virulent skin tag.
You can't let that happen to me!
Oh, we can, and we will.
Who's with me?
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
Damn right.
Yes. Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and hit notifications as Really American keeps you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.